make a bad investment, especially when it comes to housing and real estate, is something that is not spoken about. But the reality about the statistics in Kenya right now is that majority of our construction projects do not involve professionals. What is the job of a professional? So most people will assume that it's just giving me a plan. But there is the whole process of conceptualizing a project, which starts from identifying the right site, identifying the right materials, identifying the needs of the user. And all these are things you do prior as a feasibility to the actual design and construction. So what I'm saying is that I think all those steps are ignored, and then in the spirit of saving money, but in the end, it is a very costly decision that people take and leads to this current situation.
I thank you so much for that. And Winston, now let me also ask you about some of the opportunities for investments in different counties, because now when you talk about these effects, even as George is explaining, when you look at different counties, we have different problems that are facing the real estate sector. So how do we make sure that each county is really investing into the right kind of real estate, even as we go forward now from what we've seen?
Thank you for having me, Kelvin. With the new constitution, counties have come up with strategies on how to utilize the funds that they're getting from the national government. These include development of infrastructure. These include organizing business forum for real estate gurus and people who want to invest in real estate. So with these in knowledge and so many things that are happening at the county government now that most of the things have been devolved from the central government, it makes it easier and gives confidence to those people who want to invest in real estate. So if we join hands together, or like in real estate, the county government, then it's easy for us to come up with a strategy on how to scale up real business, real estate business.
Yes. All right, and also still on you, when you look at the real estate sector, the trends that are shaping real estate even this year, as a whole, what are some of the trends and how are they really contributing into improvement of this particular sector?
If you keenly observe the happening in the industry, there's a lot of, one, rural-urban migration. That is shaping the real estate in a big time, because the population that is leaving the rural to urban are creating a demand. And when they create demand, then that comes also to now the real estate industries. And this puts a lot of pressure in terms of ensuring that real estate are being innovative. How do they come up with good investment ideas and projects that suit these people who have migrated to the urban areas? Over and above that, real estate business, I will say, and industry, the growth is determined by so many things. One of them is investor confidence. So if there is that confidence in the sector or in the organization that is running with the real estate, then it makes people want to get really involved in buying houses, in buying lands and all that. Yes.
All right, thank you so much for that. And George, let me bring you in on this particular issue. When you look at the real estate and even this particular industry, he has spoken about rural-urban migration, and that seems to be like the one that stands out. Now, from where you sit as an architect, what is really shaping this particular industry?
Obviously, what Churchill says, the migration of population and the increase of the urban population is in itself a major contributing factor. And that creates the pressure. So unfortunately, with unplanned urban areas, when you have a low population, it's something that the cities can survive. But when you have a higher population and that is rapidly growing, then you're going to have a bigger demand. And when you talk about the real estate, we also need to look at the issues of infrastructure. Because when you talk about housing, housing is not about the homes, the buildings. It's about the services and amenities that service the houses. So we are talking about roads, we are talking about public open spaces, we are talking about health centers, we're talking about schools, we're talking about shopping places, working places. If all these things are not connected, if we don't have a real plan, because that's the reality, we actually don't have a real plan. The popping up of a mall somewhere has no relationship to where people are living. The popping up of residential areas within an industrial zone, there's no relationship. So what happens is that this pressure will even become worse. Remember, right now we are talking about Kenya. I think we are at about 30% urban population.
Yes.
And in the next 10 years or so, we are talking about half of Kenya will be living in the urban areas. In fact, it's being said that majority of the housing and buildings we need in urban centers in the next 20 years or so are yet to be built. So imagine the problem we have now, and then compound that maybe twice or thrice, and then you'll see that if we don't deal with the issues of proper planning and where we plug in any new population that's coming in from the rural areas, the problem we're seeing right now is a drop in the ocean of what is going to happen in a couple of years to come.
Right. And George, still on you, when you look at Nairobi right now, and the way you've mentioned, we have residential areas coming up on industrial kind of environment. When you look at Nairobi, there are areas where now residential buildings have come up, and they're still coming up. The construction is going on. A reaction on that?
So we know there is a challenge in terms of development control, because there are ordinances that guide how cities like Nairobi should be built, developed, and planned. So there is the authorities, there is the law, and then there are developers and the end users. The challenge we are having is the issues of compliance and enforcement of the laws. If we are to follow the various laws that have been put in place, and then we have proper enforcement of those laws from the city authorities, then developers have no choice. In fact, for developers, the maximizing of profit is more important. And that's why you have the law coming in and the authorities, and then the professional's job as enablers.
Okay.
So what I can say in regards to do with what is going on is that right now, what is the guiding principle is profits and returns on investments, which looks like a good deal, but it's short term.
Okay.
In the long term, even what looks like a good investment right now will lose that value because of things like climate change, like what we just saw, the flooding. That house at one point looked like a good deal to buy. But right now, it's inhabitable. And that's just probably a matter of a few months. So which means that do we look at the short-term gains versus the long-term benefits? That is something which Kenyans need to interrogate very seriously.
Right. Should we look at the short-term gains or the long-term benefits? All right, we're going to go for a short break, but when we come back, we're also going to look at investments and what is really making this very, very interesting, especially when it comes to counties, and how can we as individuals also in Kenya make this an important thing going forward, especially in real estate. So we're going to go for a short break. We're going to come back with this particular conversation. Don't go too far.